Hello, friends. We're back again as the story of Despereaux continues. Part 6. Chapter 15. The Light. When Despereaux awoke, he was cupped in a large callous hand of a human, and he was staring into a fire of one match. And beyond the match, there was a large, dark eye looking directly at him.
"A mouse with a red thread?" boomed the voice. "Oh, yes, Gregory knows the ways of the mice and the rats. Gregory knows, and Gregory has his own thread, marking him. See here, mouse."
And the match that held to a candle, and the candle sputtered to life, and Despereaux saw that there was a rope tied around the man's ankle.
"Here is the difference between us. Gregory's rope saves him, and your thread will be the death of you."
And the man blew the candle out. And the darkness descended, and the man's hand closed more tightly around Despereaux. And Despereaux felt his heart starting to stir up a crazy rhythm of fear. "Who are you?" he whispered.
"The answer to that question, mouse, is Gregory. You are talking to Gregory the jailer, who has been buried here, keeping watch over this dungeon for decades, for centuries, for eons, for eternities. You are talking to Gregory the jailer, who is the richest of ironies, is nothing more than a prisoner himself."
"Oh," said Despereaux. May I get down, Gregory?"
The mouse wants to know if Gregory the jailer will let him go. Listen to Gregory, mouse. You do not want to be let go. Here in the dungeon, you are in the treacherous heart of the world. And if Gregory was to release you, the twistings and the turnings and the dead ends and the false stories of the place will swallow you all for eternity. Only Gregory and the rats can find their way through this maze. The rats, because they know, because the way it mirrors their own dark heart. And Gregory, because the rope is forever tied to his ankle to guide him back to the beginning. Gregory will let you go, but you would only beg for him to pick you up again. The rats are coming for you, you see."
"They are?"
"Listen," said Gregory. "You can hear their tails dragging through the muck and the filth. You can hear them filing their nails and teeth. They're coming for you. They are coming to take you apart, piece by piece."
Despereaux listened, and he was quite certain that he had heard the nails and the teeth of the rats, the sharp sound of them being made sharper still.
"They will strip all of your fur from your flesh, and all of the flesh from your bones, and when they are done with you, there'll be nothing left except the red thread. Red thread in bones. Gregory has seen it many times. A tragic end of the mouse."
"But I need to live," said Despereaux. I cannot die."
"You cannot die." "Ah, that is lovely. He says he cannot die."
Gregory closed his hand more tightly around Despereaux.
"And why would that be, mouse? Why is it that you cannot die?"
"Because I am in love. I love somebody, and it is my duty to serve her."
"Love," said Gregory. "Love, hark you, I will show you the twisted results of love."
Another match was struck, and a candle was lit again. Gregory held it up so that the flame illuminated a massive, towering, teetering pile of spoons and kettles and soup bowls.
"Look on that, mouse," said Gregory. "That is the monumental mount of foolishness of love."
"What is it?" said Despereaux, and he stared at the great tower that reached up, up, up into the blackness.
"What it looks like! Spoons, bowls, and kettles, all of them gathered here as hard evidence of the pain of loving a living thing. The king loved the queen, and the queen is dead. And this junk heap is the result of love."
I just don't understand," said Despereaux.
You will not understand until you lose what you love. But enough about love, said Gregory.
He blew out the candle.
We will talk instead about your life and how Gregory will save it if you so desire.
Why would you save me? Asked Despereaux. Have you saved any other mice?
Never, not one.
Then why would you save me?
Because you, mouse, can tell Gregory a story. Stories are light. Tell Gregory a story, make some light.
And because Despereaux wanted to live very much, he said, once upon a time.
Yes,
said Gregory happily. He raised his hand higher and higher still until Despereaux's whiskers brushed against his leathery, time-worn ear.
Go on, mouse, said Gregory. Tell Gregory a story.
And it was that in this way Despereaux became the only mouse sent to the dungeon whom the rats did not reduce to a pile of bones and a piece of red thread. It was in this way that Despereaux was saved. Readers, if you don't mind, this is where we will leave our small mouse for now, in the dark of the dungeon, in the hand of the old jailer, telling a story to save himself. It is time for us to turn our attention elsewhere. Time for us, readers, to speak of rats, and one rat in particular. The end of the first book. The first, here is Gregory the jailer, with Despereaux right up to his ear. He's a strange-looking old man. Here we go. Book the second, Chiaroscuro. Chapter 16. Blinded by the light. As our story continues, readers, we must go backwards in time to the birth of a rat named Chiaroscuro, or called Roscuro, a rat born into the filth and darkness of the dungeon several years before the mouse Despereaux was born upstairs in the light. Now, readers, do you know the definition of chiaroscuro? If you look it up in the dictionary, you will find that it means the arrangement of light and dark, darkness and light together. Rats do not care for light. Roscuro's parents were having a bit of fun when they named their son this. Rats do have a sense of humor. Rats, in fact, think that life itself is very funny. And they are right, readers. They are right in the case of chiaroscuro. However, the joke had a hint of prophecy to it. For it happened that when Mercutio was a very young rat, he came upon a very long length of rope on the dungeon floor.
Ah, what do we have here? Said Roscuro.
Being a rat, he immediately began to nibble the rope.
Stop that!
Boomed a voice, and a great hand came out of the darkness and picked up the rat by his tail and held him suspended upside down.
Why are you nibbling on Gregory's rope, rat?
Who wants to know? Said Roscuro. For even upside down, he was still a rat.
You smart alecky rat! You smart alecky rat! Nibbling on Gregory's rope! Gregory will teach you a lesson to mess with his rope.
And keeping Roscuro upside down, Gregory lit a match with a thumb and held the brilliant flame right up to Roscuro's face. Roscuro said. He pulled his head back, away from the light, but alas, he did not close his eyes. The flame exploded around him and danced inside his darkness.
Has no one told you the rules? Said Gregory.
What rules?
Gregory's rope rat is off limits.
So,
apologize for chewing on Gregory's rope.
I will not, said Roscuro.
Apologize. No, filthy rat, said Gregory. You black-holed soul. Gregory has had it with you rats.
He held the match closer to Roscuro's face, and a terrible smell of burnt whiskers rose up around the jailer and the rat. And then the match went out, and Gregory released Roscuro's tail and flung him back into the darkness.
Do not ever touch Gregory's rope again, or you'll be sorry.
Roscuro sat on the dungeon floor. The whiskers on the left side of his face were gone. His heart was beating hard, and the thought of the light from the match had disappeared. However, it still danced before the rat's eyes, even when he closed them. Light, he said to himself, and then he whispered, light. From that moment forward, Roscuro showed an abnormal interest in the illumination of all sorts of things. He was always, in the darkness of the dungeon, on the lookout for light, the smallest glimmer, the tiniest shimmer. His rat so longed for it. He began to think that light was the only thing that gave life meaning, and he despaired that there was so little of it to be had. He finally voiced his sentiments to his friend, a very old one-eared rat named Botticelli Ramusio. I think, said Roscuro, that the meaning of life is light. Light, said Botticelli. You are killing me. Light has nothing to do with it. What does it all mean, then? Asked Roscuro.
The meaning of life, said Botticelli, is suffering, specifically the suffering of others. Prisoners, for instance. Reducing a prisoner to weeping and wailing and begging is a delightful way to invest your existence with meaning.
As he spoke, Botticelli swung from one extraordinary long nail of his right paw a heart-shaped locket. He had taken the locket from a prisoner and hung it on a thin braided rope. Whenever Botticelli spoke, the locket moved back and forth its way.
Are you listening?
Botticelli said to Roscuro.
I'm listening. Good, said Botticelli. Do as I say and your life will be full of meaning. This is how to torture a prisoner. First, you must convince him that you are his friend. Listen to him, encourage him to confess his sins, and when the time is right, talk to him. Tell him what he wants to hear. Tell him, for instance, that you will forgive him. This is a wonderful joke to play upon prisoners to promise forgiveness.
Why? Said Roscuro. His eyes went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, following the locket.
Because, said Botticelli, you will promise it, but you will not grant it. You will gain his trust, and then you will deny him. You refuse to offer the very thing he wants, forgiveness, freedom, friendship, whatever it is his heart desires most. You withhold.
At this point in his lecture, Botticelli was laughing so hard he had to sit down and catch his breath. The locket swayed back and forth slowly and then stopped altogether. Botticelli laughed. You must gain his trust. You refuse him, and then you become what you knew you were all along, what you knew you were all along. Not a friend, not a confider, not a forgivener, but a rat. Botticelli wiped his eyes and shook his head and sighed with great contentment. He set the locket in motion again, back and forth and back and forth. At this point, it is the most efficient to run back and forth over the prisoner's feet, introducing a physical terror along with the emotional sort. Oh, he said, this is such a lovely game, a lovely game. It is absolutely chock full of meaning. I would like to very much torture a prisoner, said Crucio. I would like to make someone suffer. Your time will come, said Botticelli. Currently all the prisoners are spoken for, but another prisoner will arrive sooner or later. How do I know this to be true? Because
Mosquito, thankfully, there is evil in this world, and the presence of evil guarantees the existence of prisoners. And soon, there will be a prisoner.
There'll be a prisoner for me?
Yes, said Botticelli. Yes. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Of course you are looking forward to it. You are always looking forward to it because you are a rat. A real rat. Yes, said Rosquero. I am a real rat. Not concerned at all with light, said Botticelli. Not concerned with the light, repeated Rosquero. Botticelli laughed again and shook his head. The locket suspended from the long nail on his paw swung back and forth and back and forth. You, my young friend, are a rat. Exactly, yes, evil, prisoners, rats, suffering. It all fits so nicely together, so sweetly. Oh, what a lovely, lovely, dark world.
One more chapter. Chapter 17. Small Comforts. Not long after this conversation between Botticelli and Rosquero, a prisoner did arrive. The dungeon door slammed and two rats watched a man being led by the soldiers' kings down the stairs into the dungeon.
Exactly, Botticelli whispered. This one is yours.
Mercutio looked at the man closely. I will make him suffer, he said. But as he stared up at the man, the door of the dungeon suddenly swung open, and a thick, brilliant shaft of afternoon light cut through the dark of the dungeon.
Ah!
Botticelli said, covering his eyes with a paw. Rosquero, however, stared directly into the light. Readers, this is important because the rat named Rosquero did not look away. He let the light from the upstairs world enter him and fill him. He gasped aloud at the wonder of him.
Give him his small comforts,
shouted a voice from the top of the stairs, and a red cloth was thrown into the light. The cloth hung suspended in the air, bright, red, glowing, and then the door slammed shut again. The light disappeared and the cloth fell to the floor. It was Gregory the jailer who picked it up.
Go on,
said the old man, as he held out the cloth for the prisoner.
Take it. You'll need every last bit of warmth down here.
And so the prisoner took the cloth and draped it around his shoulders as if it was a cloak, and the soldier of the king said, All right, Gregory, he's all yours. And the soldier turned and went back up the steps and opened the door to the outside world, and a small shaft of light leaked in before he closed the door again. There's Botticelli and Rosquero. Botticelli's the big old rat. And notice Rosquero's eyes staring into the light. Did you see that? Rosquero said to Botticelli.
Hideously ugly, Botticelli said. Ridiculous. What can they possibly mean by letting all that light into the air at once? Don't they know this is a dungeon?
It was beautiful, Rosquero said.
No, said Botticelli. No.
He looked at Rosquero. Not beautiful. I must see more light. I must see all of it, he said. I must go upstairs. Botticelli sighed.
Who cares about the light? Your obsession with this is tiresome. Listen, we are rats. Rats. We do not like the light. We are about darkness. We are about suffering.
But, Rosquero said, upstairs.
No buts, said Botticelli. No buts. None. Rats do not go upstairs. Upstairs is the domain of the mice.
He took the locket from his neck.
What?
He said, swinging it back and forth and back and forth.
Is this rope made of?
Whiskers.
Whiskers from whom?
Mice.
Exactly. And who lives upstairs?
Mice.
Exactly, mice.
Botticelli turned his head and spat on the floor.
Mice are nothing but little packages of blood and bones, afraid of everything. They are despicable, laughable, the opposite of everything we strive to be. Do you want to live in their world?
Roscuro looked up, past Botticelli, to that delicious sliver of light that shone out from underneath the door, and he said nothing.
Listen, said Botticelli. This is what you will go and do. Go and torture the prisoner. Go and take the red cloth from him. The cloth will satisfy your cravings for something from that world. But do not go up into the light. You will regret it.
As he spoke, the locket swung back and forth and back and forth.
You do not belong in that world. You are a rat. Say it with me.
A rat, said Roscuro.
Ah, you are cheating. You must say, I am a rat.
Botticelli said, smiling a low smile at Roscuro.
I am a rat, said Roscuro.
Again, said Botticelli, swinging his locket.
I am a rat.
Exactly, said Botticelli. A rat is a rat is a rat.
End of story. World without an end. Amen.
Yes, said Roscuro. Amen. I'm a rat. He closed his eyes. He saw it again, the red cloth spinning against the backdrop of golden light. And he told himself, readers, that it was the cloth that he desired and not the light. We will stop here for today.